Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest This is the Music Meets podcast. For episode 75, I'm delighted to be joined by Derby indie rockers Capes, who have recently released their excellent debut EP, Know Your Onions. As well as finding out about the EP, we're going to look ahead to the band's performance at this weekend's Why Not Festival. We're going to find out how the band started, their musical influences, and much more. So Dan, Liam and Geordie, welcome along to the This is the Music Meets podcast. Thanks very much for coming on. How are you all doing tonight?
Very good, mate. And thank you for inviting us. It means a lot.
No, brilliant. As I say, it's great to have you on. Obviously, I know we've been chatting, I think mainly to Geordie, I think on and off over the last sort of few months on socials. So it's nice as well to actually put, faces to names and all that sort of good stuff. So we're obviously going to come on, as we just mentioned there, obviously playing Why Not Festival this weekend and obviously just released the debut EP as well. But can you just kind of like let the listeners know how Cape started?
Yeah, so we was obviously chatting before. I relocated to Derby from Essex in 2018. Wasn't really looking for musical projects at that point. I knew Geordie and Liam, known them for, I'm going to show my age now, probably the best part of 15, maybe 18 years, maybe longer, I don't know, but it feels like forever. And just before COVID, me and Liam had started rehearsing, just kind of getting some songs and stuff written. Then COVID came along. We was looking for a bass player. I think Geordie had done a couple of rehearsals with us. And then for COVID time, because we were locked up in the house for the best part of 2.5 years, we were like rehearsing on Zoom. Yeah. It's the worst thing you've ever heard in your life, by the way. And then pretty much once we were allowed to sort of remingle and stuff, we started rehearsing again as a band, and the name came very quickly. We've all got young children, so sometimes balancing time for rehearsals and stuff, life kind of gets in the way, really. But essentially, very, very organic. The name came along. We had our first gig May last year, and then things have just kind of come along organically. And yeah, we wrote a bunch of songs. We did a record last year, so we put 3 singles out effectively with 3 different B-sides, and then went, actually, let's do an EP and get an EP out there and see how that's received now, really. So yeah, it's been good. Nice to do it organically with no real pressure, which is always good.
Yeah, sure, definitely. And kind of like they're obviously saying with the obviously clearly you're a free piece. Was there ever any consideration in those early days of maybe getting a 4th member or in at all, or is you was always quite happy with just it just being the 3 of you?
There still is now. Sometimes there is a bit of consideration of having a 4th, but I think creature comforts sort of take over in that respect. We, like Dan said, it all happened so organically, and because we've known each other for such a long time, I suppose we're still open to the idea maybe in the future, but there is still that nervousness and feeling a little bit uneasy about, even if we had somebody that we knew, it would still feel like they were a stranger, and
Yeah.
We're open to it, I think, in the future, but it's just been a bit of a weird one. I think we just like what we like, really.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Yeah, don't want to upset that dynamic type of thing.
Yeah,
we've known each other for so long and put through so much stuff. We've got a very the friendship between us is very, very solid, and I think for anyone to come from the outside and into that, I think it'd be quite difficult. Again, I'm always open to it, but by no means am I a lead guitarist. I'm far from Jimi Hendrix, for instance. So me kind of bumbling and whacking a few chords out, at the moment it seems to really work. And even we're constantly working on and writing new stuff, and even with the new stuff's big. my guitar pedal board, out of 8 different stomp boxes, 5 out of the 8 are overdrive. So the sound, I think, for a 3-piece is quite big.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, so no, and we again, we want to be able to produce live what we put on record, so not overcomplicate too much either,
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree there what you were saying as well about, how big you sound, as well as a 3-piece. That definitely comes across on the record and the little clips as well I've seen of the live set as well. Yeah, definitely you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, really. So Geordie, I'll come to you first on this one. Can you, and it is kind of for Liam and for Dan, for you two as well to jump in, but kind of like, can you remember like maybe what your earliest musical memory is, maybe like a certain song or maybe like a first gig or a band or that you sort of felt, yeah, this is the one that sort of influenced you and had a big impact on what you listen to now?
I've had 2 quite pivotal moments throughout my life that have sort of like really wanted to get me into music. And the first one was as a very young lad, like I'm talking probably 7, 8. I went to Belpit Music Festival when it was, if I remember correctly, on the rugby ground. And it was just a marquee, quite a big marquee, and it was on the stage. And I saw for the first time a band called Neverland. And it was like the first time I'd seen like a folkish but rock band, sort of like a bit like Levelers. There was a mandolin, there was a flute, there was a bass, there was a good drummer. And just like as a little lad that hadn't really had much exposure to that sort of thing, I was like, what the and that's what made me pick up a guitar in the first place. But then, first proper band, me and Liam, we met a long time ago when we were still in school. We had a little band that did okay. We got a few shows, but we never tried to go intensely on it. But and it still happens within this band, there's a really nice thing between all 3 of us that will do something, and we sort of we layer these songs each and every rehearsal. We add something else on,
yeah.
And the amount of times that like Liam will do a different fill or something just a little bit more technical out of the blue, and we'll just sort of turn around and there's this look that we all give each other that's kind of like, go on. And that happened in that first band, and that's what sort of made me want to carry this on. So when I was invited to the rehearsals a long time ago with Dan and Liam, I was jumping at the bit because I always appreciated that relationship musically that I had with Liam. But then it was really strange because I got in that rehearsal and Dan was in a band a long time ago that I loved, and I still love that music. But then I come into this picture thinking I'd be sort of a bit of an underdog, but then we all still do the same thing. We all give each other little nods, and there's a lot of banter, but there's also a lot of, we build each other up and we'll tell each other that was sick, that was good.
Yeah.
So those 2 things together, being in the band with Liam, seeing the band in the first place, and then being invited to be part of this, it's all been very natural and organic for me, speaking on my behalf. And it's just been a pleasure, to be honest.
Great stuff. And how about you guys, Liam? Earliest musical memory for you, is it similar to Geordie?
Not so much as going to a concert or anything like that. It was very much journeys in the car with like my mum and stuff. We had, my mum's side of the family lived quite far away, so the journeys, which we did every weekend, were over an hour and a half,
yeah,
minimum. And just like sort of the music that my mum listened to, she had a lot of the that's what I call music, them CDs. So there was such a range of, it was never like a solid album. It was always like a compilation album, like Elvis's number ones and the best of ABBA, etc. And I got my first record when I was 14, which was I've still got it. It's Lean Back by Fat Joe and the Terror Squad. I got it for £1, and ever since then I've just been collecting and picked up the drums in school by chance. It was I don't know if I should say this, but I kind of, when I was younger, I always wanted a guitar. And we had to do a performance in school. We had to do a band bit in school, and there was a lad there that had been playing guitar since he was like old enough to walk. Another lad had just bought a bass and was learning how to play bass, and I was like, "Oh, what do you want me to do then?" And they both just looked at the drum kit, started playing, practicing, and taught myself how to do everything that I know how to do, and just fell in love with it. Just completely fell in love with this, the whole thing. I mean, the playing the gigs, the writing the songs, being with the lads. It's something that you'll never ever take for granted.
Yeah.
And like what Geordie says, there's just little moments during shows or during rehearsals, something like that make you think like wow, really. I love what I do, and that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah, sure. Okay, and how about you, Dan?
My mum and dad, many years ago. Mum was a nurse. She used to do bank shifts like night shifts on the weekend. She had us in the week, and my dad used to play Saturday and Sunday league football. So I used to go with my grandma and granddad's quite a bit on a Saturday and Sunday. So my kind of first real musical memory was sitting in my granddad's shed while he was doing what he was doing in the garden. He had a real old radio that we used to listen to Gem AM, like the old classic gold, which was
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that was all like 50s and 60s. So stuff like Elvis, the Beatles, Hurley Who, bit of like Status Quo and stuff like that. And that inspired me to like, hearing hearing Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry. I was like, wow, fucking hell, this is amazing. So it sort of inspired me to get into music, and I used to, when the internet first evolved and was all sat on dial-up, your mum was shouting, "Get off that! I need to ring your grandma." and I'll be like researching music, and I can remember I used to like get really into bands and stuff, and I got into T-Rex massively, and I remember like doing a load of research on Mark Bolan and what Mark Bolan had done. And then from that, Mark Bolan, for his mum's birthday, did an EP of covers. And there's a song by an old R&B singer called Betty Everett. The song's called You're No Good. Right. And that got me into like early 50s R&B. And like before that, 30s Delta Blues. And I just jumped on that journey really of getting into guitar music and just kind of letting it flow. And I had a phase where I was into like glam rock, and went for a phase where I used to shave my head, Diet Blonde and Eminem for a little bit and all stuff like that. So I just love it, man. I just love music, and I love where it takes you on a both physical and a mental and emotional journey. Buying music, I used to spend a lot of my pocket money in that buying music, and when I didn't have any pocket money left, I used to tape the charts on a Sunday on the old cassette. Of my little girl was 6, and I was saying, she was asking about CDs the other day. I went, "Oh, I don't know about them." We had mini discs and cassettes. She was like, "You're off another planet, man. You are." But yeah, I used to tape all that. But I was into everything. I had an older brother. He was into like West Coast, real like hardcore West Coast rap and stuff. And my mum used to listen to a lot of Motown. So I grew up with a lot of music and stuff around me, really. I was very, very lucky that all the family used to listen to a lot. And my dad used to play drums and stuff as well. When my dad was like in his early 20s, so I can remember him rattling the drums and that. And we had like a loft room at home, and he used to rattle the drums in there and piss all the neighbours and stuff off. So yeah, I've just grew up around it all,
Yeah, brilliant. There's some great memories there for all three of you there, and there's certainly a couple in there that I can definitely relate to as well. So obviously, big congratulations to the three of you. Obviously, the release of the debut EP, Know Your Onions, it's been out now for about 3 weeks. So what's the reaction been like to it?
It's been amazing for this week, last week alone, we got airplay on BBC, introduced it locally. And then we've hit record of the week on Radio Derby, Radio Nottingham, Radio Leicester, which I didn't think would get played on BBC introducing carte blanche. I didn't think it would happen. So that's really humbling. And again, like yourself, and there's quite a few independent radio stations and stuff have picked it up and run with it. And just generally from people, really, I think, it's difficult. There was no pressure on, really. So it was difficult to kind of release something and have no expectation. And personally, I didn't want to over egg it because, if people thought it was shit, then it'd be a bit of a. But it's been all joking aside, it's been really good. It's been really positive, and as a band, the last year, we're doing stuff now that was never on our mind, with things like Why Not and tram lines, and we did 2 local festivals, and we've got a real big one coming up in September, which I'm absolutely stoked for. So the reaction's been great, and even little bits from friends, and again, my love for music's passed on to my children now, and the kids love it as well. My little girl is 6 years old. She's brutal. If she don't like it, she'll tell you. So nice to get her seal of approval as well. So no, it's been amazing, man. I'm absolutely chuffed to bits with it. I really am.
Yeah, brilliant. It's great to hear with all the local radio play as well that you've mentioned. But one of the things as well that I sort of personally found quite refreshing, actually, obviously you released I think it's 2 or 3 singles like last year and sort of early into this year, but obviously the EP it's 4 like brand new songs. So kind of like, then why did you sort of go down that route rather with 4 new songs rather than maybe taking, say, for example, like It's 4 a.m. and putting that on there, and kind of like as well, why did you feel it was like the right time to release the EP now?
They'd been burning in my pocket for a long time. No, I think do you know what? We wanted to change things up a little bit. I'm very humble about what I do, and I went through a life-changing experience a couple of years ago where it's really put my life into perspective in a lot of ways now. And I'm not one of them that, oh yeah, we've got this great news coming up, and trying to like dangle carrots in front of people. I want the music to do the talking, and releasing 4, and in my opinion, absolute banging songs was the right thing to do. And we just had to. It felt right to do that. It felt right to get things out. We've got so much material written that we're working on. The next record is already written and ready to go. So
right, wow.
Which we've got a choice of 2 different options there. Again, whether we do an EP again, or whether we do a set of singles. But effectively, I think we've got another 8 songs ready to go that are record ready. Some stuff that we wrote a while ago, and some stuff that's absolutely brand new. So no, it was just, I think it was the right thing to do. I wanted to gauge the reaction, and I think it was a good way as well of kind of showing the size of the band and what we can do, and to bring more of an audience in. And you know what, for a little band from Derby, the small following that we've got, they're very loyal, they're very supportive, and it's amazing just to see, even having that EP out in 3 weeks, the gigs that we've done in the last 3 weeks, people know these songs, so you can see people mouthing the words in that away. Good small venues, you see the whites of their eyes and that, So no, I'm just buzzing off it, man. Absolutely buzzing.
It's almost been like a snowball effect, hasn't it? With releasing the first 3 singles, and it was almost as if the snowball had hit a tree,
Yeah.
And just kind of stopped or slowed right down. Excuse the song title pun there, but we
you got
just
to get it in there somehow.
Yeah, we just wanted to go this direction and put some more fuel in the engine again and just get it started again. And now I think we've put like nitrous in it or something, because it just seems to have just took right off. And it's something that we didn't set out, we didn't write it and do it for like, well, we know we're going to do this if we do it. It was like, we'll do this because we kind of want to do it, and we want, the small, that loyal fan group, we want to give them something as well. And then all of a sudden it's radio plays and interviews with the likes of yourself and stuff like that, and things that I never thought I'd be doing, to be fair. So
yeah,
I think the most important thing is that we've not got a musical in here. We've not got somebody guiding us or leading us along the way. Every single thing we've done so far has been just through experience, or we've just all talked about it together. We make sure we talk about everything that we do. So like your question at the start, you said about why did you release sort of like 3 songs and then release an EP? We initially wrote it as an EP, but we then, when we got it back, we all made a decision that it'd probably be better just to sort of have a couple of songs that we released throughout the year, because we were still finding our own feet. And like I said, we've got nobody helping us. Everything we've done self-funded. It's we're all doing it. We're all busy people. We're all dads and stuff. So then when the EP came about, it was the natural thing was to release it as an EP. It was just a feeling. I mean, I'd say you two will probably agree that it felt like that selection of songs were, this is it. This is how we're doing it. And sort of all this amazing stuff, this reception that's happened off the back of it is absolutely like mind blowing. Like Dan made such a good point. Seeing people singing words to the songs that we've written, I've never experienced that before. And it's one of the most crazy things to see people like, really giving it some. My little girl sings a song. She actually, I play guitar to her at night, and she asks for capes every night.
Oh, brilliant.
and I'm like, leave that to Dan.
Brilliant. Oh, it's a fantastic little story there, like a great little memory as well to look back on as well in years to come. And that obviously this weekend it's the big festival appearance. You're obviously at Why Not Festival. You're on the Hog and Barrel stage this Saturday. So first of all, how excited are you about playing at one of the UK's most prestigious festivals? And maybe for people that haven't seen you live yet, or maybe come across you yet, why should they come over and give you a listen on Saturday?
It hasn't set in yet for me that we're playing it. It hasn't. It really hasn't. I'm excited to get there early and do a bit of Mr. Motivator Saturday morning. I'm looking forward to that. That's my kind of part. I'm really excited about the festival. I don't know what you're laughing for. I'll be there. I'll be there in my life. Right?
That's something that's not been all spoke about. You don't want to
come and watch that bit. No, personally for me, it ain't setting. It really hasn't. And again, the thing is, with the radio play, with the appearances, with the gigs, we've not asked for any of it. We haven't gone to Radio Derby and gone, oh, will you play our song? They've played it. We didn't ask to play Why Not Festival. We got asked to do it. And it's really, really humbling for me at the wrong side of 35, after losing all my good looks and that I had when I was younger, to be out going and doing it. So it's the experience that we're on at the moment with the run of gigs it's overwhelming to do that. And with tram lines and everything we've had so far, why should people come and see us? Because we're bringing back guitar music, that's why. And we're a part of this amazing movement of local bands at the moment and of national bands that are riding high with guitar music. And it's relatable. The songs are from the heart. There's no There's no bullshit in there, you know. They're all from out of here, man, and it's very honest. The approach to what we do is very honest. It's humble, and the tunes are also fucking brilliant.
Yeah, the humble. We mention the word humble a lot, and we constantly remind each other that is sort of our main focus. Is we want to be as humble as humanly possible. Really, we don't want to walk around with this attitude, with this entitlement. We're privileged to get these things, and we're really grateful to get these things. Like I say, we've not asked for them. We've been asked, and that I suppose it's almost like an award in a way. It's like how I imagine like winning a Brit Award or something like that. But it's kind of like the confidence comes within saying that if you come to watch us at Why Not, you're not going to be disappointed. You know, we'll blow the roof off that tent. So that's come watch us, because it's a laugh as well. We're a laugh. Well, we try to be, don't we? But,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, you know, we're just three lads in our 30s, and you know we're dads and that, and we're not doing this for fame or fortune. We're doing this because we enjoy it, and it's something that all three of us are good at, individually and collectively. And we just enjoy it so much. And I think one of the main things for me is seeing the enjoyment of the crowd. The amount of times after a gig that I've had people come up to me and say that they were mind blown, and you know, something that you've described as stadium ready, and that to me alone it's crazy. That's because I wouldn't have ever described us in that. I wouldn't have ever thought to.
Yeah.
So it feels massive to have a comment like that towards us. But yeah, just come down, just have a look, see what we're about, because we play a good show. We do put on a good show.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well what you've both been saying there about you know, that the songs are there from the heart as well. That I agree. I think that definitely comes across as well in each song that you've done, and obviously as well the you know, like the production side of it as well. Clearly you've got a you know, a good eye for like attention to detail and stuff like that, in terms of making sure that each song can be the best that it can possibly be. So from I guess like a bit of a fan, I guess, if that's the right word, of the band, keep it going. That's what I say.
Thank you.
So obviously last weekend as well, you know, the festival appearances are racking up for you. Obviously you were down at up at Tramlines Fringe Festival. What was the first gig in Sheffield? What was that like for you?
It were enjoyable seeing what it's like. It was like one sort of street that had three different venues, and it was nice to see, you know, one of my favorite bands are from that area. So it was nice to see what it's like down there. You know, everyone's doing Monkeys covers and that. But it was just good. Like I went into Record Junkie as well and had a look, and they've got records in there, and there's also a tiny little venue, nice and intimate and that. But it was an enjoyable gig. Unfortunately, I had to rush off for another engagement. But other than that, I enjoyed myself. I enjoy every gig I do, you see. But so yeah, it was really good.
I love going back to Sheffield. I used to go raving and partying in Sheffield when I was a lot younger. So the guy that was organising that part of the Fringe Festival went, "Oh yeah, I need the M night on in here last night," and I think he'd not been to bed for 3 days. and I went, "God, I used to come here. They used to do a thing in Sheffield called Insomniacs that used to open at, I think it opened at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. It used to go right through to like Sunday tea time. So for me, going back down memory lane, it was it was enjoyable. But personally, I've played in Sheffield loads. I love Sheffield as a city. I like spending time in Sheffield. Some of the venues but back in the day, I can remember playing at the Grapes. I saw the Arctic Monkeys there before they were signed as well in Sheffield. So Sheffield's great. And again, to be asked to play the Fringe Festival, we've had such a good run of gigs lately. It's wicked. And I can remember the start, sorry, I'm babbling, but I can remember the start of this festival journey was we went and played an open mic night, which is like a way into Ripper Music Festival, which is a local festival on a park, big, massive stage. The PA's big enough that people can hear you 35 miles away. And we went, we'll go down this open mic night. I went, yeah, we'll go down there. And we've got us amps and that. And everyone's been out all day, so everyone's rat-arsed by 6 o'clock. And we just went, look, we'll go and play it and we'll see what happens. And we absolutely smashed it to bits. And the guy Mick was like, "Oh, come and play the festival." And I think that was the start of this journey before the record and that came out. I don't even think we'd started recording the record then.
No.
This, real organic journey. So yeah, I kind of pinch myself every day about what we do. It's great.
Yeah, I've only got one story about Sheffield, and that gig we did was much more enjoyable than the one gig that I've done before, because it was when I was in a lot younger in a band, and it was a bit more metally, and I had a massive amp and I had to carry it up what seemed like 45 miles of hill to the top of a venue where we played to the sound engineer and his dog. And it was, so the fact that we got there and it was a better PA and it was, there was actually people there, that was absolutely phenomenal. And, I could probably do with carrying my amp a few more places, to be honest, but I don't want to carry it up that hill again. It was torture.
Here at This Is The Music, we like to shine a light on unsigned bands and sort of solo artists, like Capes, that are on the sort of unsigned sort of stage and trying to establish themselves on the new music scene. So kind of like over the last sort of 12 months or so, what sort of bands or artists have you guys been listening to?
I've been listening to a lot of Royal Blood and a lot of the Hives. I saw Monkeys in Hillsborough Park this year, and the Hives were supporting them. And I kind of forgot how much I enjoyed listening to their music. And Royal Blood too, after their like little bit at one of the festivals they played, and then they went and they were at Glastonbury. They were the band before Monkeys at Glastonbury. And just watching their energy on stage, the fact that they're only a two-piece and stuff. They've released another single, I think, recently as well. And I really like listening to the drummer from Royal Blood. I think his name's Ben. I'm not sure what his name is. I think his name's Ben. But I really like what he does. And I'm trying to actually now listen to a lot more variation of things in terms of like studying. And I've noticed I'm listening to the patterns of the drums a lot more than I used to. I'm thinking, I could potentially, whack something in, magpie an idea from a different band or a different drummer, and I've started to study it quite a lot more. So I'd say them for me.
Yeah, and you've mentioned in the Arctic Monkeys there. How did you find it? Are you a fan of the new album? Because I think it's probably fair to say it's a bit Marmite. Maybe it's divided a lot of the fan base, I think.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I'd go as far as to say, and this might cause a bit of controversy here, but I'd say I'm probably their biggest fan out of everyone in the world. So I'll sit here with a pint and I'll argue with anyone about the progression and the growth of that band. I enjoy it a lot. I really like the latest album, and I like all of them. And I know what people are saying when it comes to the first two albums, but I think it resonates with what we've done as well, is that we brought them 3 singles out and then we went in a different direction, and we're kind of just progressing with it, so that, you know, there might be something in the next record that I might strip back a little bit, or I might go a bit further with it and try a bit, you know, try doing a lot more and stuff like that. So I think what they're doing, they're the best band in the world, you know, currently, and I don't think that's up for debate. So I like it.
He will fight anyone that disagrees.
Yeah, literally, I will. I'm not bothered.
Fair enough. I'm not gonna disagree in a minute. And how about you, Geordie? Who have you been listening to over the last sort of 12 months or so?
I get bullied by these two for this because I've got quite a different music taste. I like a band called Ghost, and they're very much they are a tongue-in-cheek band. But the thing about it, and the thing for me, is I'm quite compositional when it comes to stuff. I like hearing how things sound as sort of like a collaboration of all the instruments together, and I go really nerdy with it. And they do a lot of sort of like vocal harmonization, guitar harmonization, stuff like that. And it would never be relevant for this band, but you add the relevance in because we're a 3-piece. We have to make ourselves sound bigger without having 14 members of a band. You know, we're not the next Lynyrd Skynyrd. We're not going to have 17 guitar players. We don't want that. We don't need it. So like Dan's including more sort of guitar solo-y sort of things that fills it out. Liam does some really good stuff with drums and some really clever things. If you really listen to the record, it's not just standard beats all the way. There's little embellishments and little bits that you add on. And when it comes to like my favorite band, like I said, it's the little things like that, which is why I like that band so much. And they're a bit heavier, but also the harmony work as well. On the latest record, we concentrated a lot more on sort of how we added harmony, because when we started the band, I wasn't really singing, Liam wasn't really singing, Dan was doing it all, but now we've added these parts in to make these songs sound bigger. So everything that I really listen to always has this facet of big harmonies, and the music. I'm too bored to listen to something that's quite similar. Like I can't listen to something that sounds the same, so I have to listen to something where it does have changes in the songs and adds little things. Which is why another reason I really like Arctic Monkeys' new album, to be honest, because I actually took a listen to it, and Liam's hit the nail on the head. It's about progression. They've got older. They're not 17-year-old Sheffield lads. Every band has to progress and has to improve and has to move with the times. And I've been listening to a lot of Beatles. That's the second band that I listen to a lot. And the exact same situation, from Revolver to, you know, the last things they ever released, the production, the intelligence and complicity of the music increased and increased. And if you listen to the songs we made at the start and the songs we're making now, it follows that pattern. We're all getting a little bit better at our craft, but also listening to a bigger variety of music. So Arctic Monkeys and Ghost and the Beatles, they're the 3 people I've been listening to lately.
There we go. And how about you, Dan?
This week, I've mostly been listening to country music. And you may laugh. We had a hire car last weekend. We had a little fiesta. And the radio on it didn't work very well, so I managed to find smooth country, and I've got right into it. I don't know why.
Good radio
honestly, mate. But I've been listening to someone called Tracy Bird, who's like an Americana country singer from America. It's a guy, and he's really good. So that's this week's pick. But generally, do you know what? I try and listen to a lot of like local bands and smaller bands. So there's a band locally called Shadows of a Silhouette. They've made their record where we rehearse.
Right, okay,
So they will be aware of it after this interview, but we listened to all their record before it went anywhere. Tom, the guy that produced it, went, have a listen to this. And we went, fucking hell, that's amazing. So I listened to a lot of that. I've been listening to some of the Marseille stuff.
Yeah.
I really like Marseille. There's a band from Scotland that you probably know called the Shambolics.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a fan, you might say, of them.
Yeah, I'm absolutely banging to them. So yeah, them, and I try and sort of support small like local bands we're listening to. Listen to them. There's a guy called Ash Radford as well. If you're aware of Ash Radford, he's a singer songwriter from, I think, from Southampton. But I've been listening to his stuff, and yeah, into them. I like the new. I've been listening to a bit of Iron and Wine. Quite like them. So it depends, really. I can literally go full circle in a day. Go from country music to Motown to a bit of R&B, and then back round again quite easily, really. So, but yeah, the thing is, this just in this last couple of years, and I think it's since COVID, there's been a real uptake of guitar bands.
Yeah,
really is. There's some phenomenal guitar bands out there now, and I think that we're only scratching. There's only so many hours in a day, so I think that we're only really scratching the surface on what there is out there.
Yeah,
we really are, and I think that this year and last year, and I think next year, it'll be the rise of the independents. I really do. Shadows of a Silhouette, for instance, 2:00 main stage slot at Why Not? What a slot for them. For they're not young, I know young kids, but for young lads like that to be doing that, and I'm aware of other stuff that they're doing and getting offered, and it's just great for a small local band, no manager, no label, self-financed with everything. It's amazing. It's absolutely wicked to see.
Yeah, definitely. And you say in there, sort of like, obviously you guys are from Derby, so kind of like the Derby scene as well in particular. I'm very aware of Shadows of Silhouette, obviously Marseille, you've mentioned, the Public Eye, as well. And I think one of the things that I find quite fascinating about this is that everyone tends to concentrate on the major cities, London, Manchester, Liverpool, etc. But in actual fact, when you start looking around like Derby as well, there's obviously, we just mentioned obviously 3 bands there, obviously clearly yourselves, Death of the High Street as well. There's actually a scene in Derby as well with people who are prepared, the sort of the bigger musical industry people that come down and have a look, because there's plenty of very, very good bands in Derby.
There's a lot going on in and around Derby. The cat. I mean, I'm an old fart, so I can remember the good old days, or 15, 18 years ago. It was just as good as what it is now. It's had a bit of a lull. It's died off, I think, and then it's come back. And it is. There's a lot going on. The caliber of bands amazing. It's difficult. There's a lot of venues that have closed in Derby. There used to be a venue called the Vaults, which is a bottle room for Slug and Lettuce now. Slug and Lettuce won't open it back or offer it up to anyone to put stuff on. It was like Derby's answer to the Cavern Club, because it's in an old arch.
Right.
I've played some with different bands, played some phenomenal gigs there, and I've seen some phenomenal gigs there as well. But yeah, it's going venues wise. It's gone through a bit of a rough patch, which is why the festivals do so good.
Yeah,
and they're everywhere. There's great festivals on, but people are really trying in Derby. I'll say that. And there's the Vic, which is near the train station, that's reopened, and they're really trying. There's a couple of small indie venues and stuff as well that are doing bits, and the open mic scene's always been really strong in Derby, so that's been good. But it's a great place to live near, and it's a great place to play.
Brilliant, great stuff, and fingers crossed that continues. It sounds like a really thriving scene, so fingers crossed that continues, because I think it's really, really important that bands and solo artists, etc., do get an opportunity to get out there and play live, and learn their craft as well. So I'm going to chuck some quick fire-ish questions at you now. We'll see how this one goes. So the first one is, who would be in your fantasy supergroup? And we'll sort of say there's 5 people in the band. Well, I say that's up to you guys, but
I'll go Damon Albarn, John Bonham, Lana Del Rey. I'll chuck Flea in there as well. And then fifth one. Struggle with a fifth one. But I'm just gonna just throw a wild card in there. Let 50 Cent. Chuck him in there. Chuck him there. Get him in there. Why not?
What a band. I could see Geordie on Damien Albarn going, what? And
I thought that was a really good pick.
That's flawed in the 50 Cent one.
Throw him in there.
Is he doing back
Geordie, who wants to go next on that one?
I think, if I'm really putting together a super group, then they've all got to work together. So lead singer, John Lennon. Bassist, I know I'm going to feel like I'm saying the Beatles, but Paul McCartney, because of what those two could do vocally as well as together. Drummer, I've got to say probably
Ringo Starr.
Matt Helders. No, Matt Helders for sure. I think that he's a very creative bloke. I'm also picking people that sing well together as well. That's something that's a big consideration. Guitar, Eric Clapton. Keyboards, that's an hard one. I don't know. Who's a good keyboard player that could work well with them people? Probably
Herbie Hines, whatever his name is.
Well, I know, it's a wild card. No, here's a wild card for you.
He's good on keyboard, mate.
He's all right, isn't he?
The guy from The Killers, I don't know his name, but somebody told me that little keyboard solo. Yeah, I need him in there. I think that's 5. I'm not good at maths.
Yeah, we got Anonymous on the keyboards, and we got 5 there. Yeah, brilliant. How about you, Dan?
I'd go old man. I'd go on the drums. I'd whack Keith Moon on there. I think Jimmy Page on the guitar. I think I'd go for. I'd have to squeeze Steve Marriott in there somewhere. I think probably on rhythm. Bass player, I don't know really. I don't know for bass players really. There's some. Again, it'd have to gel, won't it? So you don't want to go whacking Les Claypool in there. He ain't the man for that band. You know what I mean? They'd be fighting, wouldn't they, with the rhythm? I think John Deacon on the bass. Vocally, Adam Lambert, who's fronting Queen and has been, his vocals just out of this world, man. It's something else. I don't know. I think he sings from his feet. He's got that much power. It's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I've never seen a singer with such a strong performance before in my life. That's all. He's a worldie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, dude, there's some great choices there, and I'm sure that'll be a pretty good festival lineup as well if that was ever to happen.
Absolutely.
So what's the one item that you couldn't live without?
Oh, yeah. Because I feel like with questions like this, someone would say like, "Oh, my Swiss Army knife" and that, and it's boring, that, isn't it? I want to say something a bit, bag for life. There you are. For life, mate. You can put loads of stuff in it. You could shelter from rain in it. It's quality. You can't go wrong with a bag for life.
There you go. I wasn't expecting that answer. So
yeah, bag for life. All you need.
Go on, Dan. I need some more time.
I couldn't live without my acid Poppy Parker. I don't think. I don't think that. No, bit in love with that. I must admit. bit in love with that. I don't really go for practical things. I don't do practicality in life. I just do go out for a bit weird and wonderful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to be the cliche one to say my instrument. It's so difficult. Probably my acoustic guitar, but not for the reason that I'm a singer-songwriter or anything like that. Because I've always sang my kids to sleep, and I've always used my guitar as sort of a part to do that. So my guitar has been a very constant thing since I was yay big to even now. So my electroacoustic I've had for many years.
There you go. Beautiful answer. Beautiful. Love that. So which band member is always late? And it could be for turning up late for a gig, rehearsal, whatever. Who is that guy?
Don't know, mate. Not sure.
I can see a
punctual.
hand there raising, but no response, Dan.
Me,
We're all
mate.
very
Yeah,
punctual.
definitely. Yeah, definitely it's me. Timekeeping ain't great for sure. It's what you do when you're there, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's not about the hours in the day. It's about the life in the hours. I think that's the most important thing. It's what you bring to the table.
Brilliant, love that. So if you could go on any TV show as a contestant, what show would it be and why?
Crystal Maze, I'd like to go on.
Oh, old school. Brilliant. What
Like
a
a
show.
challenge.
Catchphrase.
Nice.
I'd smash the laugh out of catchphrase.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd beat it.
Beat catchphrase. Just all of it.
Just the whole thing.
Beating it.
Yeah. I'd host it as well. I'd just be that good.
Takeshi's Castle, I think.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'd be done at the start, but I'd have a good time doing it. And I get to go to Japan. So.
I'd love to see that, mate.
Yeah, we're well cool. It's coming back as well, I've heard.
Is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
I've heard this as well, yeah.
I think Ramesh Ranganathan, I think, is going to be a
Is
host.
it like a
commentator of
UK
it.
version of it then?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Are they? That's it, mate. I'm going to apply on Baines's behalf.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd do it. I'm down. Any day of the week, lads. Any day.
To see him
In the
just get
book.
total wipeout, something like that. You need.
I'm getting smashed by that first turning column. I'm done. But you know what? I'll have had a go.
You getting whacked with a oversized boxing glove would just be the highlight of my whole life, I think.
That's heavenly, that would, wouldn't it?
Brilliant.
Absolutely incredible. Gladiators. That's what. Yeah, Gladiators.
That's a show.
Yeah.
They should.
Has that come back yet? Because they were bringing it back. I remember I saw something like Wolf's Kid or something was on, I don't know, like Good Morning Britain or something or the other, and he was they were bringing. I'm certain it's meant to be this year, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, they better be.
Otherwise, Liam's going to riot.
I'll host it as well.
We should be a scrap heap challenge. We need to start doing all of them and bring all them back.
Bring them back. Bring them. The old ones are the best ones, as they say. So, can you describe Cape sound in 3 words?
Go on, Liam.
This could be the band's catchphrase after what you were saying on the last question as well.
Just 3.
You can have more if you want, if it makes it easier for you.
Yeah, rock and roll. That's what it is. It's rock and roll. It's black and white, plain and simple. There you go. There's 9.
Brilliant, great stuff. So what I'm quite keen on finding out really, will the Parkins Parker episodes be making a comeback? And what Parker will Dan be wearing at the Why Not Festival?
We'll be making a comeback, yes, definitely. I have got a gold smock to wear at Why Not. Not solid gold.
But
And I'm hoping it's not too Jimmy Savile, otherwise I might have to change before. Because it's very crisp, like tinfoil. But yeah, I think I'm going to wear that. Why not? I've got my favourite Parker is the Acid Poppy Parker that I wore a little bit last year. That's really lightweight, so I might chuck that. I don't know yet. It had quite a few gigs out last year, so I've not worn it yet so far this season.
There you go, brilliant. Well, just for that, you need to get down and watch Capes on Saturday just to find out the Parker.
Absolutely, mate.
Brilliant. So obviously across the podcast, obviously we've spoke about what you did like in 2022 and obviously what you've been up to so far this year. But what sort of other plans have you got in the pipeline? You've got the festival appearance obviously as well this weekend, but are there any other plans, like any other sort of gigs for this year? Obviously sort of hinted that maybe there might be some more music releases as well.
We're going to look at potentially doing a very small UK tour later in the year, which will probably be five dates, 5 cities, I would think, that we'll do. And then, yeah, definitely going to aim for new music before the end of the year. And then we're going to take, after Christmas, we're going to take the first part of next year off, feet up for a little bit, I think. So get some new music out, have a bit of a relax while the weather's bad, but it ain't great at the minute, is it really? And then warm up to basically starting fresh again in sort of April, May next year. And then we're already looking at, we've already been offered a little bit in terms of festivals and stuff for next year. So pretty much start warming up to next year's festivals, really. And write, I think. I'll spend a bit of time writing as well. So we've got a new record ready to go. And then spend a bit of time next year writing again. We're a bit less busy. It'd be nice to do that again, really.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Well, it certainly sounds like it's going to be sort of an exciting sort of 12 months and stuff coming up. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing those plans come to light, so to speak. But Dan, Liam and Geordie, that is the end of the This Is The Music Meets Capes podcast. I thank you, all three of you, for coming on. It's been great getting to know you a little bit more and finding out a little bit more about Capes' journey so far, and I've had a real good laugh as well. But just before I do let you go, can you let the listeners know the social media platforms that we can all give you a little follow on?
Bainesy, over to you on this one, mate.
Yeah, we streamlined it all, so it's pretty much Capes Band UK on absolutely everything from YouTube to TikTok to Instagram. The ones, if you want to contact us, the best ones are probably Facebook and Instagram. Just Capes Band UK or some kind of amalgamation of that. It's all same branding. We've tried to streamline everything and make it all as one thing. So same profile pictures on everything. So you can't miss us at this point.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Well, we'll put those links in the episode bio as well, just to make it a little bit easier for everyone to find you. But obviously, as we said in the podcast, Know Your Onions, the debut EP from Capes, is out now across all streaming and download platforms. And I highly recommend, if you haven't given it a listen yet, that you do, because it truly is a fantastic EP. And as well, the band, as we've mentioned, are playing the Why Not Festival on Saturday lunchtime-ish, I think it is, over on the Hog and Barrel stage as well. So if you go into the festival, then make sure you get Capes on your radar. Lads, thanks very much for coming on. I wish you all the best luck in the world on Saturday, and as well with everything else that is coming up for you. It sounds like a very, very exciting time.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And all that leaves me to say is to thank everyone for listening to the This Is The Music Meets Capes podcast. If you are enjoying the podcast, then leave us a 5-star rating and written review, as it really does help the bands and artists we interview to be discovered. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again somewhere down the road.